Yo, what's happening, my fellow peeps and peepettes? This year I'm professional toy reviewer Red is Power here, and I am not doing a review for the time being on this guy. But what I am going to do for you as a favor to many out there who are asking, will I be showing this guy in any fashion, in any way possible at the spotlight here? The answer is yes. I've had this plan for a little bit because I knew this was going to happen. There are a lot of reviewers out there right now receiving their Unicron, and they have gone from planet mode to robot mode. There's only a slim pick of people out there that have already done the opposite, and I'm going to be one of those, and I'm going to try to get in full depth detail as possible to the best of my knowledge. I'm going to get up close with this guy so we can get a full-on look at this transformation without any panels getting in the way, so you can see what tabs in here, what slots into this place here, what clicks in here, and hopefully this is going to work out fine. At best, fine. Because if it doesn't, the fact is, I tried. So I'm saying that right now as a disclaimer. If I fail at this, I tried. Let's get into it. Here is Haslab UNICRON going from robot mode back to his planet mode when he's first pulled out of his package. Let's begin. I do apologize if this is too bright here, but I wanted to bring up the ISO as best as possible here so you can see just about every dark area on this guy so there's no mistakes. Now, having said that, one of my very first mistakes on transforming this guy back to planet mode, the last couple of times I did it, which are the only times I've done it, is that I did not put the horns in the right place. First of all, you can actually turn the horns back in order to put him back in his planet mode, and they shouldn't get in the way of the planet pieces. I had them forward, which I saw from a reviewer, and it didn't work out for me. If you put them back, it works out a lot better. Having said that though, right now, those planet pieces are going to get in the way of the horn, so what you really want to do to kick things off here is rotate them at least down for the time being, and we will come back to those in a little bit. Remove the wings. Just go ahead and pull them off the rails, and I'm just going to show off one because it's very simple. You just pull them out of the shoulder socket here and just set them aside for the time being. We'll come back to those in the final part of this tutorial. The next step is I'm going to go ahead and open up his fingers here, just to get them out of the way so I can put back his thumb, which has to go all the way down to a 90 degrees. Close this all back up. Make sure the tips actually go over his thumbs here so they can catch like that. And then when that's all said and done, you can go ahead and take this entire forearm section, and just like in the movie, except we're going backwards this time, we're going to bring it all the way down as it should, which unfortunately the pinky fingertip actually came loose. So let's just put that back in now, in which I have. So we're going to slide this down until it actually catches, as you can hear that click, and we're going to move on to the next arm. And I do apologize if the audio is a bit out of whack because I keep moving left and right in order to do this transformation tutorial. But anyway, as you can see, I'm repeating the same process here, just making sure that pinky fingertip is in its right position here. Hold it all in together and then swing down this, well, swing it down, slide down the forearm piece, and then make sure it pops. And if you want to, at this point, you can actually straighten up his elbows so they're straight down, and now we're going to press on. Oh, and you never saw the wing here. Adjusting the brightness to the ISO just a little higher so you can really see this here. What we're going to do now is we're going to take these panels apart at the legs, starting off by untabbing this one here. And I'm going to rotate this so you can actually see that this piece here is actually tabbed in right here on this planet piece, and we're going to go ahead and untab that, swing it down till it's touching the ground, and then we're going to put this little piece back and we're going to tab that back into position just because. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to take this piece here and we're going to slot this down till it's touching the ground, just like this piece here. And after readjusting so you can actually see what's going on here, I swung out his leg just a little bit so I can actually show you that panel piece is going to flip up, and we're going to go ahead and untab this entire section here, as you can see. Come back to the back of Unicron here so you can actually see what's going on. Just make sure all of this is disconnected at the moment and just swinging about, which you're going to have a lot of that in this video. Rotate just a little bit so you can actually see what's going to happen here at the front, because we still have to untab this section here, which we're going to grab the entire piece, just like the way I got my hand here, and we're going to pop this entire piece apart until that tab right there lets go of that slot right there. Then what we can do on this double hinge here is swing all this down and just lay it to the ground. Just let it lay to rest. Can you even see that? There you go. Just let it sit here for the time being. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take this entire back piece now that it is actually separated, and on this double hinge here we're going to swing it up just a little bit so we can actually come around, and then we're going to bring it up again and just leave it right here for the time being. Anyway, we're just going to give you a good look at that real quickly. That hinge is pretty much going to lay like this. It's going to swing out like this. It might actually go back just a little bit, but that's only because of gravity playing here. But pretty much we're good to go for the next part. So it's just basically repeat the same process on this side here, and we'll go from there whenever you're ready. Now that you have repeated the same process on the left leg, we are ready to move on to the upper section for the time being. Once again, readjusting the brightness so you can kind of see what's going on here. I really do hope that this is working out pretty well for you guys. Please let me know right away. Anyway, I'm going to rotate here so you can kind of see what's going on. This is the next section we're going to work with. We're going to bring down his mandibles on both sides here. And we've got this big giant tab here that we are going to go ahead and we are going to pop like so. And we're going to repeat the same process on the other side here. So this entire section is going to let go of Unicron's back. I'm going to bring it up as high as it can go for the time being, so that way all this is going to calm down. You can't see any of that because of how close the camera is, or maybe you can, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's all going to lay to the ground here, which I'm going to adjust so you can see real quickly. It's all just laying here for the time being. We'll come back to it in just a moment. At this point, I believe it is safe to go ahead and rotate Unicron's horns inward this side via back on his head here. You should have enough clearance here to work around the rest of this transformation without the horns getting in the way. Now you've got plenty of space here to work with the shoulders, and we will in just a bit, but we still got some other things to work on at the moment. And to start off in this area, we're going to go ahead and flip up his butt flaps here so they're lined up with the back and completely out of the way for the rest of this video. At this point, we're going to take every single piece of Unicron's back here and we're going to take it up and swing it around, as it should be able to clear the entire horn section. And then we're going to let it flop down carefully on this side here. So now that that's taken care of for the time being, let's go ahead and do something about his legs. I'm going to try to get this all filled in as much as possible on the screen so you can see what is going on here. But what we need to do is we need to bend his knees in order to actually get enough clearance back here to actually get his legs to go back. So on these very tight hinges here, you really want to bend them as much as possible. And at this point, I guess you're pretty much okay to bring in his toes like so, and then that middle piece, you can bring that up, because we're pretty good at this point. We can go ahead and bring up the rest of his knee now. Before we better secure all this together here, what we need to do is we need to flip this piece in here at the leg, and this piece is actually going to come all the way out like that. I know it gets in the way of the arm, but trust me, if you don't do it this way, you're going to have complications later because you got to move stuff around in order to get this in the right placement. Believe me, it's a pain. Anyway, now that that's complete, what we need to do is we need to bring his knees up all the way as much as possible, so that way we can bring this entire section up as high as it will go to a certain stopping point, which I need to see for myself here, so I do apologize for moving this around. But there's a groove here that this entire piece is actually going to sit on when it comes to the stand here, and we might have to readjust the ankles just a little bit because they might be a little too low for this to sit in right. So once that's in there, we should be pretty good to go for the time being. There it goes, as it sits right in there. we're good to go. Can you see that? I hope you can see that. I'm doing my best here, adjusting the brightness to the video again so you can see this. We're going to repeat the same process here as best as possible. You're not going to see any of this at the bottom, but you already saw how it was demonstrated, so you should have no problems with this point. So anyway, what we're going to do is we are going to readjust the angle of his knees here on these very tight connections so we can get them up past the clearance point of the legs, or not the legs, but the, well, actually the legs of the stand piece itself would actually be correct. Once we're cleared, we can go ahead and readjust its toes, fold them all back together, and then we're going to take this piece here. I hope you can see this. It's going to fold in on itself here like that, and then we're going to fold this piece down straight like that. Once we've done that, then we can bring the knees all the way up, and we have to readjust the angle of his thigh piece, and there's going to be a lot of parts that's actually going to start flailing around the place. Be forewarned, that's part of the engineering on this guy, so don't worry, you're not going to break anything. Just got to readjust everything now pretty much to the same position, just like the right leg. Readjust the ankles a bit, make sure there's clearance here, get those spikes out of the way if they get in the way. Kind of turn this so I can see what I'm doing here. I do apologize for that, but I'm doing my best. And what we're going to do now is we're going to finish this, get these two legs to line up as best as possible, and once you believe you got them in the groove, go ahead and snap them together, which I don't think I've got at this time being, so just got to do a little more readjusting to get it to slot in to that groove. And again, it should. If it doesn't, try again. And I think I see my problem here. I might actually have to dislodge this one here, just so they both can line up first and then push into the grooves as they tab together like that. Readjust the angles right here. And once you've got that taken care of, you should be able to push it back into the groove, no problem. Bingo, bongo, bango, we're getting somewhere. Now for one of the most complicated parts about this transformation, dislodging the shoulder piece so we can get the arms to swing all the way back into their grooves and come back here and combine together, just like going back in the transformation in reversal from the 1986 movie for Unicron. So in order to do that, tell you guys the truth, this is not a clean process here. I've tried, but anyway, what you want to do is you want to come up in here into his shoulder, and you want to grab that spring piece that latches the two bits together. If you can reach it, which it should be here. Okay, I'm not feeling it. There it is. Okay. So yeah, I was grabbing the wrong position. So you want to grab that little spring piece. I can hope you can see that right there. You can actually kind of see it. I can't see it for myself. My own eyes can't see it, but you can kind of see it right there on camera, surprisingly. Anyway, you want to hold that in place, pushing your finger back on it, so it will dislodge from the armpit section, as I'm going to call it, which is this thing here. So this entire piece comes loose. What you don't want to do is go ahead and separate this piece here. Do not force it. When you got to rotate this, you want this to stay connected. This panel and this panel here stay connected in order so you've got a better grip in order to swing his arms back, which they should. And it's a scary ratchet system here. It is very tight. So just bear with me as I go about forcing these arms to cooperate here. For the life of me, cannot seem to get this right now because I'm on camera. Hey, nobody's perfect, right? Anyway, let's see if I can get my thumb under here to hold this in place as I turn it. Finally, once you've got the arm straight at a 90 degrees position where this is going all the way back, you can separate this piece here, which you have to push back on, and it should separate. Don't worry, you're gonna get scared a lot, but trust me, nothing's snapping on the guy. Fling up his arm so this piece you can get out of the way. This entire panel section needs to come up so you can get the arm into the groove here. Now, here's a part that no one ever really mentions. I hope you can really see this. You see the shoulder connection piece here. It's supposed to lay like this at an angle where you got that tiny little pointy tip right there sticking out. Just that tiny little piece that you can get your fingernail in. That's how you know that this is lined up correctly. And I can see that there's a little bit of some force there that just, man, that piece earlier. I do apologize, okay? This is not very complicated, but boy, due to the fact that his shoulders are on some very tight ratchets, it can be a hassle at times. But anyway, what you want to do now is, once I rotate this so you can see what's going on here, make sure that his arms are actually into these grooves right here where I'm moving my finger up and down. Make sure they're in there all the way, so that way you can bring his arm or forearm all the way back like this, and you've got plenty of space to work here and combine the two arms together. Okay guys, this is just a little bit of a gamble here, okay? I have not actually done this. I have not separated this piece, but what I did do is I went ahead and put the shoulders and the arm in the proper position when you go about transforming him back into planet mode. So I have not dislatched this piece here. It's still connected to the armpit. Hopefully, if this actually does work, it won't make a difference. So let's go ahead and try and take that little spring piece here and try to dislatch it if we can. And if not, then I'm not going to show this off anyway, but it should. That's my guess, is that it won't matter. We can still get this to separate here. We should. In theory. Theory, guys. Theory. Just a guess. I don't think so. Maybe I was wrong. Which, again, I'm not perfect at this, but I don't know. It doesn't want to let go. It really doesn't want to let go. Oh, okay, so it can be done. But just be very cautious. And then once that's taken care of, then you can probably push this piece out here. It's still connected. It just takes a little flexing, that's all. That's all, just a little flexing. Okay, so I'm going to keep this in the video, so just so you can see. That was a lot easier, to tell you the truth. What took 5 minutes here to get that rotated in the right position, due to fear, sweat, and wiping my face with a towel. This, not really that much force. But anyway, let's make sure the armpit is in the right position here. Too much. Just, there you go. See, you got that little bit right there sticking out. We're going to go ahead and press onward and get these arms together. Right, so I had to readjust the lighting again just to get it a little darker here because I realized it's getting too bright. But once again, repeating the same process on this side, we need to get this planet panel piece here, all of this, swung up and out of the way of the arm so we can bring this entire section down and straighten out his arms back to its standard 90 degrees, and then we're going to put it back in its groove here, and I'm going to push back a little bit so you can see this. Now we should have, in theory, enough of a connection here to get this to line up right and get the arms to clip in together like so. There's going to be a lot of readjusting to the brightness of the camera here just so you can see all these dark areas. But what we're going to do now is, remember this piece I told you to swing out straight down here, which is pretty much connected to his legs. What we're going to do now is we're going to take this piece, hold it in place using your fingers, and then we're going to take this piece and we're going to swing it to a 90 degrees and make sure that that does snap into place. You're going to hear it just thump, and once it thumps, you know it's connected in the right position. So it's going to look like this. Never have it swing back this way, because if it is, it's going to interrupt the transformation when you try to put the planet pieces back together. It will not allow it to go back into position, which means you've got. Now we repeat the same process on this side. Flip that back so it's out of the way and swing this down just a little bit so you can see, once again, that connector piece that we have to grab here and keep in place so we can swing this entire section up like so. You'll hear that thump, or you'll feel it, actually, is what I meant to say. Make sure that's straight, just like that, and we're good to go for the next step, which is basically just taking these spike pieces and on this hinge here, swing it down, bring it like that, so that way we can take this tab here and this tab here and we can slot them in their proper position, starting off with the back piece first. Make sure that's in that groove right there. Once it is, then you should be able to take the tab that is right here on the closer side to the front is what I'm saying here, and just tab that back in, and there we go. That is one side connected. We'll go to the next side and repeat the same process. And like I said, once we're on this side here, we're going to repeat the same process as we did on the right side. We're going to swing down this hinge here just like that to get it in 90 degrees position where this is completely flat and meeting one another. Then we're going to take this piece here and we're going to slide that in, and then on this tab here, which is around the shoulder, we're going to pick that into place, and there we go. And I do realize I called this the shoulder piece, and I realize it's also the elbow piece, so my bad, it happens. And finally, we can get back to this piece of the planet mode, which is the maw. What we're going to do is we're going to get these two panels here to combine using these tabs, but the tabs are not strong enough to keep this secured, so gravity will take play. If you get this wrong, it's going to drop right back down. In order to combat that, would be the best way to put it, is first of all, we need to get these parts out of the way here. I don't know if you can see that, but those parts that were holding the backpack in position on Unicron, just swing them back. Now we can go ahead and take these two pieces on these double hinges here, and we're gonna combine them as best as possible on camera here. Again, it'd be easier if I didn't have a camera in front of me, but now that they are attached, hold the maw in position, because I'm gonna try my best to show this off here, and I do apologize for bumping the camera, but there, right there, as I am pointing here, is a very big connector piece that's gonna land on this crotch piece here, and it's gonna tab in a nice position. So once you get it lined up, give it a good push. It should pop into place. Might take a little bit of some doing here. Again, easier if I wasn't on camera, but it is what it is. Get that to line up and tab it into position, which I gotta do a little bit of readjusting here because it's not really going in there for me. Camera curse. I'm gonna come in front of the camera, or pretty much back here, so I can see what I'm doing. And that's not working out as I had planned. I'm not entirely sure why that is, because everything is lined up just right. Again, if you're really gonna follow my instructions here, be forewarned, there's gonna be some difficult parts to this transformation that just you might have to do an extra step or two to combat this thing, but once you do get it, it's in there pretty good. For some reason, it's not really... Okay, it is in there. Alright, never mind. Okay, so that took a little doing, and you can tell I'm short of breath, but I did get it to latch finally. Make sure these pieces that connect the backpack to Unicron are all the way in as far as they can push, just like that. And then what we can do now is we can take his mandible piece here and we can swing this down, grab it, because it is made of this very soft plastic material. You don't have to worry about it stressing anytime soon. And I'm going to try my best to show this off here, but you got that tab right there that's going to slot into this slot right here, and start from the bottom piece first in order to line this up good. So once you do get it lined up, once it does get in there, you can push on the top, and there you go. We'll repeat the same process real quickly on camera here instead of jump cutting. Get that panel out of the way so you can see what's going on here. Swing down the mandible that's got the spike connection as well. I do apologize for my camera dying there, but I had to rechange the battery, of course. So in other words, it's called jump cut. But what we need to do now is, once again, on this side here, we need to get this to slot in at the bottom here, which is not really cooperating right now, and I'm not sure why, because these are in the proper position, the proper orientation. They should just go right in there, and it's not. It's like it's too far out or something, but it should. It is in the right place. I've done this quite a few times here with success, like that. There we go. So it just takes a little doing. You have to force flex it just a little bit in order to get it to combine in its proper position. Now we're getting there. We're almost done here, but we've got so many panels to work with. We're going to start with the bottom. And our problems begin down here with this piece, which we have to get to go all the way back In order to do that, you gotta make sure that that mall really is connected up here. And once it is, you should be pretty okay at this point. Separate these panel pieces here. I hope this is on camera. I didn't really look. Make sure that these pieces here are detached as well. They're on pretty good connectors, to be honest. And once that's taken care of, what we need to do now is we need to find this piece here, which we're gonna go ahead and we are gonna take this piece here, and it should in theory, of course, it should pop over this latch here because it's very flexible plastic, and it should get out of the way because in order to get this back into planet mode on the stand, we have to get this piece to stay where it is, which is, it goes on the inside of the planet mode, and that's really being complicated here. It's possible I could have done it early, but it really shouldn't make a difference because we do have a swivel joint. I forgot, we got a swivel joint here that allows that piece to get out of the way. Now this planet piece, we're gonna try our best right now. I don't think this is gonna be a permanent solution for the time being, but we're gonna try and get it to stay tabbed in via these connectors like that. Maybe it will stay in place, I don't know. Only time will tell, but we're gonna repeat the same process on this side here. Bring this down as much as we can so we can swing it on the hinge back and around like so. And we're gonna leave that piece there, and we're gonna try and get these to connect here. As I had some kind of weird accent there for a moment when I said this, which, you know, very forgiving material here that this guy's made out of. Should be okay. Put some force on this, and there we go. These pieces are gonna come down. Don't worry about them right now, okay? Once it's connected here, you're pretty much good to go. Just, we'll come back to these in a little bit because they're just gonna keep popping out anyhow. What we need to do is, once this is pushed back all the way, that little piece for the stand to actually go inside planet mode, we're gonna take these panels and we're gonna attach them once again so we can have a little bit of a completed planet mode going on here. Make sure that's flush as best as possible, and I do apologize for bumping the camera, but again, camera's in the way. What am I gonna do? Anyway, once we get enough flex here to repeat the same process on this side and get that to attach, we should be good to go to combine these two pieces together like this. And once you have these planet pieces attached to one another, we're going to go ahead and take these tabs here. I'm going to slot them in here to his forearms on the side. And this should be really easy here at this point. You just give it a good firm push and you're pretty good with the bottom. We're going to go ahead and move on to the top. I certainly am going to try. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that top planet piece and we're going to go ahead and take this sucker and bring it around on this hinge here. And what you can do then is get these panels out of the way here, because they will get in the way. They always get in the way of this transformation. Just make sure everything is lined up correctly up in here at the top. That's flush. And if it's done correctly, which I'm going to show you now as I readjust the camera, you should have this planet piece touching the forearm, which means you've got enough room here to complete this connection. So once that's done, this is where gravity comes into play here, and it's really a bit of a trick, but you should be able to get these two tabs that are underneath this piece, the opposite of this piece here, to line up with the forearms, and they should tab into the side of the forearms here, completing the back of Unicron's planet mode, as you can see as I rotate it here and give you a quick look at this. It is a sight to behold, even if it's not completed yet, which is what we're still working on here. And now for the hard part. This is the most difficult part about this transformation. His panels here have to, with the force of gravity, of course, have to attach into every single piece here at the bottom, starting off with the back and working your way to the front. And it is a you know what in order to do that. First you gotta get this to come down on this double hinge, swing it this way so the planet piece, this orange bit, is actually up in here. It's gonna be in the center of his arms here, which is proper. So we're going to go ahead and separate these halves here, and I want to show this off as best as I can here so you guys can get a good idea of how this actually works, because I'm telling you, if these don't line up correctly, it's not going to work at all. So what you need to do, if I can show this, is you need to go ahead and take care of the front section. At least on mine, your results could be different. But once you get those to line up, you got to make sure that that's completely flush. There is, like, I don't know what you could call it, a stopper in there that's supposed to actually go inside a slot on the inside of this panel piece here that I cannot show off at this point. But you want to make sure that that is in there, because if it ain't, again, it's not really going to connect right. And I can't really see, but I think it is in there. Only time is really going to tell at this point. Now that that's done, we'll go ahead and take this piece here, and we're going to go ahead and bring this one together, these two halves here. And it could be possible that I was wrong, and maybe this is the area that's supposed to, there we go. It's this area. It's this one. Sometimes it feels like it's the front, and sometimes it feels like the back. Just make sure, no matter what, you wiggle them into proper position here. So you got something like this that's really not leaving a huge gap as it would be originally. This is how you know it's lined up perfectly. You gotta make sure that's like that. I mean, I can't say it any better because my language sucks. Anyway, now what you need to do is you need to take these two side panels here and bring them together, starting with the top here, because this is all painted. All this orange is complete paint, and you don't want to chip that. So get enough space here. It's very flexible plastic. Bring that forward, connect the two pieces together, come to the bottom here and work at the bottom. Get those two to connect. Easier not on camera, but I can kind of manage here. There we go. And we've got pretty much a good chunk of the planet ready to be attached via starting the back here. What we need to do now is make sure that this lines up correctly, so we can take this tab here, which I'm going to show you, and we're going to slot it right in there as it should. And that should be the key to getting every single piece down here to attach. And it does take a little bit of force. I'm going to try my best to show this off, and I'm sorry the audio keeps going left and right, but I have to move in order to adjust here so I can see what it is I'm doing. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to try and show this off. Once you get the back piece all lined up just right, everything from the front should line up correctly to a certain degree. You might have to do a little forcing here, which I'm going to show off, but yeah, you should be able to get this planet piece to come together finally in the proper position, just as long as you got all the in pieces in and all the out pieces out. It's kind of difficult to say, but you know, you'll understand once you get to this point of the transformation. If you get this to come together here, these planet pieces should align just right, and this piece should tab in. And I have no strength left in me at this point, because I've been at this for a while now, but I'm gonna try to get this to come together. And it's not really wanting to come together, as of course on camera, but once it does get in there, once it does, you should be good to go. And what's going on here? Looks like there's a piece that just won't latch together. Get that bottom piece, get that top piece, get them to line up. And maybe it's better if I just do this off camera, because I just can't get this with my left arm, which is just tired and in so much pain right now. And it's not the fact that it's Unicron. It's not. It's just, there's just so many things that has happened in my life right now, to the point where I've just damaged this arm completely, to the point of probably no recovery. It's just not going in there. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, this isn't going to be the best tutorial, but it's something for Unicron. There we go. Okay, so I got it. It just took a little forcing. This is pretty much your standard when it comes to doing the transformation on this guy. Push this in, push that in, push this in, push that in. Do a little excessive forcing in order to get a panel to line up. But anyway, that's pretty much the bottom. And I'm not going to show this side. I'm just gonna skip it and we're just gonna press on once we get to the top. Now that we got the bottom all connected, which took a couple of minutes, we can finally work on the top, and this should go much smoother because gravity is in your favor at this point. What we need to do is go ahead and get all these panels to come apart like they should, and we are going to get them to come together and make sure that they're completely pushed in, lined up just right, no gaps. Just make sure, get this piece to come, swing out like so, swing that back, again, line it up, make sure it's lined up. Finally, get that orange piece to come around first, and then work on the unpainted side, or unpainted piece, and get that to latch together. And we're good to finally get this planet piece together. We're gonna come to the back, and we're gonna make sure that this is all gonna actually swing together now, as it should. And there's a tab where that should actually slot in, and for some reason it's making me a liar when I said this be easy, but you gotta grab something over here. Just make sure you grab these two planet pieces here, because if you grab anything from the bottom it might separate. I don't know, haven't had that happen yet, but you don't want it to. But anyway, once you finally get that tab to line up, push on it, just get that in there, get the top, work your way all the way to the front. Get that to push in, get that to push in, and we're gonna rotate here, because I'm not gonna jump cut, I'm just gonna show this as best as I can. All in one go, get that to push in, get that planet piece to come back in, get that to push, 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 push baby, push, there. Give me my baby, push honey. Anyway, now that we got to this point, all we've got left is this area here. And to tell you the truth, this tab never wants to cooperate. In order for me to actually get this to go in there, fortunately there's that slot right there. Just that little slot where I got my finger at, and I have to, unfortunately, because this is painful at times, I've got to get my thumbnail in there, and I've got to pry. I've got to pinch right here between this planet piece, which is the mall, and this planet piece here. And this tab right here, I got to push as well with my left thumb and hope that it all is attached together correctly, and it should tab in securely, which for some reason it's not. Everything seems lined up just right. That didn't go in all the way. Maybe I just didn't give it enough force. Well, that's not going in. But you get the idea of what's happening here. This piece is supposed to come around and tab in all the way. Yes, it should, and I think we got it this time. It looks like it's sticking out just a little bit, but that could also be just the engineering on this anyway. I'll start from the back this time. Just get these panels to come flush together. And then we're going to take this one, bring it out, bring that little piece out. And then we're going to take these two here, work on the top first because it's the painted part, and bring that around so we can bring the bottom piece around as well, which it should line up, and they should come together. Make sure no stoppers are actually visible here, and they're not, which means they're tabbed in at the bottom correctly. Now what we can do is we can get that painted part to come forward first, and then we can get this part to swing around and tap that all together. Now we have to come back to the back here, and we gotta get this tab to cooperate here, get that to line up. And at this point there's really nothing to grab on Unicron, so just pray, just get that to line up, get that to line up as it should, with a little force. A little forcing never hurts. And it's hurt. It's hurting me because I've done this quite a few times, and it's just, you know, after a while, owie, wow. But anyway, now that that's done, we've only got this half to do. Good luck at this point, but it should, in theory, line up right. Okay, now we're getting there. That should actually tab in just fine. once this piece gets tabbed in. So just grab it again with your thumbnail if you got it and push. And we get it. I think we got it. You're in the home stretch. Here is the wings that we are going to transform into the ring for Unicron's planet mode. When you untab this piece here, which has a very strong connection on a very big, thick tab piece. So we're going to swing this around like this, and then we're going to take this part of the ring and we're going to swing that in like so. Leave this the way it is for the time being, because what we're going to do now is we're going to take this piece and we're going to leave that alone for the time being. And what we need to do actually is we need to take this entire ring section and we need to swing this around like so. And depending on which way you have it orientated in planet mode, take this and swing that up, take this and swing that up. So we got the middle piece that's going to go back into the planet like that. Make sure this is all readjusted here, because now it's going to get a little trippy here. What we need to do is we need to take this tip and we need to swing that down, because now we got this peg here that's going to go into this slot right here, which I'm really trying my best to show off here. And it takes a little doing, but it will go in there once you get this angled up, of course. Make sure that's in all the way, just like that. And that should complete one side of the planet's ring. And just in case it wasn't on camera, I have changed my decision, and I'm going to show this one more time. Repeat the same process with this one, where I'm going to untab, swing this around like this. Take this piece right here, hopefully you're seeing it. We're going to swing that in like that, and we'll stop from there. What we need to do now is we need to take this ring piece and we need to swing it around like so, because then we're going to take this point and we're going to swing that up, and then we're going to take this part and swing that up, and that's actually going to tab into, you know, it's going to peg into the middle of Unicron. Swing all this together to make it look like a better ring, because now what we need to do is take this piece here and swing that down, so that way we can take this piece and swing it up, and then we can take this hinge here and we can swing that down, and it should peg in perfectly this time without any mistakes. And there you have the other half of Unicron's ring, and we'll go ahead and finish off this transformation. And last, we are finally going to put the Planet Man back together again. Planet Man, okay, sorry, Chaos Bringer. And what we need to do is make sure, it doesn't really matter how you do this, but as by the instructions, make sure that these spikes are pointing down on this side here, all three of them, and make sure that this piece right here is on this side here. It's just the way that I've done this since I first started transforming this guy. Line up, of course, the key for this piece. You might actually have to push this out of the way just a little bit so you can get enough clearance to slide that in. And then rotate this entire section by grabbing this entire section here so you don't snap anything over time. Just like that. Lift this up just a little bit so that we can fit over this slot here, this key slot, because this piece right here is going to go right into the middle. Push down. There we go. That is one half of Unicron's ring put together, and I do hope you saw that, because I'm going to go on the other side now and repeat the same process before I run out of camera juice, if you know what I mean. So we're going to take this ring here and we're going to line up once again the key in the opposite direction. This piece is not going to go up now, it's going to go to the bottom of the planet mode. So once we get the keys lined up, it will open the doorway basically. So once that's lined up, push that in, grab this entire section here, and you might want to grab this too. Give it a good swing until it clicks into place, which it will. And I did not do that as I said I was going to. I was going to go in the opposite direction. My apologies. We need to swing that back down. And this is where we're going to have to play a little finicky here. Push this all the way out so I've got enough clearance here to get past the stand, and rotate this around one more time till it clicks. And then this piece is going to swing around as best as possible. Thank goodness this is so forgiving. This platform here is so soft because it's my bed, in case you didn't know. Now that we got all that taken care of, let's wrap this up. I'm going to lower the camera here so you can see what else is happening here, because we're going to take the opposite piece, which is pointing in this direction now, that piece, and it's going to slot up in here down below. And then we can take this tab here and this slot here, and we can line it up right. And if it is, it should clip right into position, as meant to be. Finally, what we need to do now is raise the camera so you can see what's going on at the top here. We're going to take this ring piece and we're going to swing this around, line it up as it should, push on it, and we're pretty much there. We just need to readjust everything to our liking, make sure the ring is completely a ring, completely in a circle, not bent in any position, and bada bing, bada boom, bada bang, we are done. All right, my fellow piece of peepettes, there you have it. There is Unicron fully transformed back into his planet mode. Now you know how it's done. Now you know how complicated it is. Hopefully I did this to the best of details that I can offer to you guys. Hopefully it works out for you. If it didn't, well, I'm sorry. It's like I said, it is what it is, and I'm not the professional that you guys are looking for, basically. But if it did help you out, feel free to let me know down below in the comment section of this video. I will very much appreciate your time and effort you put in to letting me know in feedback how this worked out for you. I would really appreciate it. It's the only way I'm going to improve on this stuff. So anyway, as I do in my closing here, if you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to give me a sub up. If you didn't like it, hit the thumbs down. Don't forget to throw in the towel. And until next time, when I take this guy from planet mode back to his robot mode, because it is going to happen, just not right now because I'm a little tired and I need a little R&R. This is your unprofessional toy reviewer, Red is Power, signing off by saying fare thee well, so long, goodbye, and get out. I'll see you then.